China is tightening its grip on rare earths, critical minerals behind smartphones, EVs, and defense systems. Beijing's new export controls go beyond raw materials, turning minerals into strategic leverage. With the Trump-Xi summit approaching, global supply chains face fresh uncertainty. The world now watches as technology and geopolitics collide. China has expanded its control over rare earth exports, broadening restrictions on technologies used for processing, magnet manufacturing, and recycling. The new measures, announced by the Ministry of Commerce, go beyond raw materials to cover intellectual property and industrial know-how, a shift that strengthens Beijing's hold over the global supply of critical minerals. Under the revised framework, export licenses are now required for technologies and equipment related to rare earth processing, while overseas defense users are explicitly excluded. Applications involving advanced semiconductor components, such as those used in artificial intelligence and memory chips, will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Beijing's new rules also extend to foreign firms that use Chinese materials or equipment, effectively expanding China's oversight beyond its borders. The timing of the decision is significant. It comes just weeks before a scheduled meeting between Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in South Korea, a moment expected to focus heavily on trade and technology disputes. By tightening its export regime, China is signaling that it views rare earths not only as economic assets, but as instruments of strategic influence. The move could pressure Washington to make further concessions in ongoing talks, such as tariff reductions or relaxed US export controls.
Beijing has realized that it has leverage in this sector and is clearly not shy about using it.
Rare earth elements, a group of 17 minerals used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, smartphones, and defense systems, are a small but indispensable part of the modern economy. China accounts for approximately 60% of global mine output and over 90% of processing capacity. This dominance gives Beijing leverage at a moment when supply chains are increasingly weaponized amid geopolitical rivalries. The new rules on the export of rare earth materials will take effect on December 1st, while those on technologies and labor took effect immediately, according to official statements. Analysts say the new controls underscore Beijing's intent to balance commercial interests with national security priorities. By adding layers of regulation and limiting access to critical technologies, China aims to preserve its leadership in rare earth processing while reminding trading partners of the risks of over-reliance. The immediate fallout from China's decision is being felt across the defense and semiconductor industries. Both sectors depend heavily on rare earth materials for advanced manufacturing, from missile guidance systems and fighter jet engines to microchips and magnetic sensors. In the United States, defense contractors that rely on neodymium and samarium cobalt magnets for precision weapons and radar systems face new uncertainty. Similar challenges confront manufacturers in Europe, Japan, and South Korea, where Chinese-made alloys and magnets are key components in aerospace and high-performance electronics. With licenses for military use now broadly restricted, these companies must navigate complex approval procedures and longer lead times. Semiconductor manufacturers are also caught in the crossfire. The inclusion of advanced chip making and artificial intelligence technologies under the new export rules adds another layer of risk for global supply chains already strained by US-China tensions. Each shipment or transfer involving Chinese rare earth technologies will now require case-by-case approval, creating potential bottlenecks for production. Wang Dan, director at Eurasia Group, said the latest measures reflect a sophisticated use of economic tools to achieve strategic goals. She noted that while China's domestic production will remain stable, the restrictions deepen foreign dependence on Chinese expertise and technical capacity, a dynamic that limits Washington's and Brussels' efforts to develop self-sufficiency. For manufacturers outside China, the implications are both logistical and strategic. Compliance with Beijing's new rules will demand greater transparency across supply chains, while rising costs and uncertainty could slow production of critical defense and technology equipment. Economists warn that the ripple effects may extend to downstream sectors, from renewable energy projects to consumer electronics, where rare earth-based components are essential. The response from other nations has been swift. The United States, Australia and India, as per reports, are accelerating plans to diversify supply chains and build independent processing capabilities. To tackle the uncertainty, Washington has expanded Pentagon funding for domestic mining and refining projects, including partnerships with private firms to secure magnet production for military use. Australia's Lynas Rare Earths continues to be a key player in efforts to reduce reliance on Chinese processing, though its capacity remains modest compared to Beijing's. India, meanwhile, has been approached by both the United States and Japan to explore trilateral cooperation on rare earth extraction and refining. But progress remains slow, constrained by environmental regulations, capital costs, and the technological barriers of refining at scale. Beijing has also sought assurances from New Delhi that any rare earth exports will not be rerouted to American defense contractors, reflecting the geopolitical sensitivity of the market. China has demanded written guarantees from India that heavy rare earth magnets imported from Chinese firms will be used only for domestic purposes and not re-exported to the United States. In Europe, policymakers are reassessing strategic stockpiles and incentives for domestic production. The European Union's Critical Raw Materials Act, passed earlier this year, aims to ensure that at least 40% of processing occurs within the bloc by 2030. However, analysts caution that scaling up refining and magnet production will take years, leaving Europe exposed to short-term disruptions. The broader effect of China's tightening, experts say, is to reinforce the global hierarchy of technological power. By regulating not just material exports, but also the intellectual property behind rare earth technologies, Beijing is shifting the competition from trade flows to technological ecosystems. Countries seeking to counter that influence face not only an industrial challenge, but also a race for innovation and expertise. As the Trump-Xi meeting approaches, the message from Beijing appears calculated. Rare earths remain a quiet but potent symbol of China's central role in global manufacturing, a reminder that control over critical minerals translates into diplomatic leverage. For Washington and its allies, the latest restrictions highlight the cost of dependence and the urgency of building new, resilient supply chains in a world where technology and geopolitics are increasingly intertwined.